So today I wanted to cover the book from 1953, Mars Project, with the name Elon being the human to bring those to Mars. And who wrote this was none other than von Braun. And it is so interesting to me that the Project Mars, the technical tale of Wernher von Braun, and the Martian civilization known as Elon in 1949 is pretty nuts. So, we're gonna keep going down this Montauk rabbit hole with this crazy time travel possibilities, with other things that have happened in the Looking Glass, and how interesting it is that all these things way back when, and if you're not familiar with Baron Trump and that book or any of those things, there's too many coincidences when it comes to Tesla technology, the Jack Parsons, Alastair Crowley, the UFOs. If you've not seen my other video, please do so. I know it's not really getting out there, so I really appreciate everybody sharing it. And this race for space technology and Mars and the Jet Propulsion Laboratory with NASA, and sadly the connection to the scientists from World War II brought over with Project Paperclip, beginning all kinds of things with Montauk and the Philadelphia experiments, and Operation Mockingbird, MK Ultra, and fluoride in the water, and so many different things that started way back then. And then the confession you'll hear of von Braun on his deathbed. I hope you enjoy this article I'm going to read to you now. Dr. Wernher von Braun was a top-ranking SS officer who was also the lead of the Nazi rocket program during World War II. Von Braun was brought to America after the war because our government considered his knowledge and expertise too vital to fall into the hands of our enemies. Dr. von Braun and his colleagues brought with them a wealth of information gleaned from the top Nazi scientists, like his boss, SS General Hans Kammler. Von Braun may have been privy to work on anti-gravity propulsion vehicles reputedly under the development during the last days of the Third Reich. Over the years of his tenure, von Braun may also have enjoyed access to NASA's secret programs. It certainly does seem this way. Apparently, he began to see the big picture regarding the true goals of America's space program and how the military-industrial complex was manipulating it according to secret hidden agendas during the latter years of his life. What's the deal with UFOs? Is there an imminent threat of an alien attack? Let's ask top Nazi turned NASA rocket scientist, the late Wernher von Braun, inventor of the V-2 rocket and true all-around pioneer of aerospace engineering as we know it, Dr. Carol Rosin, a former leading aerospace executive and space and missile defense consultant, with whom von Braun became good friends late in his life, has testified before Congress that over the 4 years she knew him, up until his deathbed in 1977, Wernher had repeatedly warned that once all other methods of control and manipulation through fear or threat cards have been played by the powers that be, communism, terrorism, crazy third world leaders, then asteroids. The alien card is the final card. We are going to have to build space-based weapons against aliens, and it's all a lie.
Good morning, my name is Carol Rosin. In 1974, after being a sixth grade school teacher, I was introduced to the late Dr. Wernher von Braun in the U.S., the father of rocketry. In my first meeting with him, during that first 3.5 hours, he said to me, "Carol, you will stop the weaponization of space." June, he said, no, you have to understand. There is a lie being told to everyone that the weaponization of space is now first being based upon the evil empire, the Russians. There are many enemies, he said, against whom we're going to build this space-based weapon system. The first of whom was the Russians, which was existing at that time. Then there would be terrorists. Then there would be third world countries. Now we call them rogue nations or nations of concern. Then there would be asteroids. And then he would repeat to me over and over, and the last card, the last card, the last card would be the extraterrestrial threat. Well, at the time, I kind of laughed when he said asteroids, and when he said extraterrestrials, I knew I wasn't going to deal with that subject. And now we hear on the news just today, this week, that they've slid in another enemy. Only this time we're going to protect our satellites. In other words, we have to have some reason to spend these trillions, to waste these dollars on a space-based weapon system, and they're all lies. This is a system, he told me, that would never protect anyone. Even back then, he talked about suitcase bombs. He talked about chemical, viral, bacterial, biological warfare, that these space-based weapons would never protect us against. I said, oh my Lord, this man is telling the truth. There is no threat. And I've been waiting until this day for 27 years, and I'm expecting the spin to happen, because he also explained to me that as a military strategist, as a person who worked on the MX missile, which I did later, he said, you will find that there is going to be a spin to find some enemy against whom we have to build space-based weapons. And now we should expect the spin, because he said part of the formula for the intelligence community is if they might have a weapon, then we have to consider that they do have these weapons. So now they do have these weapons, so now we have to build these weapon systems. And that's the formula, except that it's all based on a lie. And we have witnesses here today that have shown you that these extraterrestrial beings, that these craft that have come here are now not UFOs, they're identified flying objects, and we know that they have beings in them. And we have witnesses here who have told you that they can shut down our missile silos, they can stop a rocket going into space that's a test. We have witnesses here who have worked in the classified departments, who have the courage to come forward here to support what Wernher von Braun told me back in 1974 to 77.
The highly informative essay breaks down Walt Disney's close friendship with von Braun, and the author document Walt's political aspirations to be the King of America, NASA's need to, in the 50s, for space propaganda via the media, the partnership on films, TV shows, and the direct impact of those projects had on public and government interests on space exploration, not to mention paving the way for a space-based Star Wars defense system. It doesn't, however, discuss the alien base depicted at the 33 degree on the far side of the moon in their 1955 film, Man in Space. So, for you alien hunters, here's one for the more mysterious videos I've seen. Disney's 1995 UFO expose. The possible motivations the company had in putting out this video are much blurrier than the footage it contains. Why does Disney want us to believe in, to fear aliens so badly? Alien? These days, between projectable holographs and ELF radio frequencies, extremely low frequencies, only heard by our brain, not ears, I'd have to wonder if it was even an object at all. Warner reportedly admitted late in his life that humans have possessed anti-gravity beam energy technology since World War II. Von Braun also pointed out in the 70s that fossil fuels could now easily convert to a long-suppressed free energy technology at any time. Wernher von Braun and Walt Disney partners in propaganda. Thank you, Mr. von Braun, for trying to give us a heads up on the Star Wars program that while battling terminal cancer, von Braun was misquoted or coerced into repeatedly making these warning statements against space militarization and in the name of international security.
And meanwhile, NASA lost the blueprints for the Saturn V rocket, right? So you couldn't rebuild that.
Right. Saturn V was a great rocket. It's just too bad that that we should just rebuild that rocket and make it better, like just improve on that rocket. It was a good design. It's so much better than the space shuttle.
So are you going to put a
not
man
even
on Mars?
comparable.
Are you going to put a man on Mars?
Okay, so there's a huge agendas and secret treaties, and cancel culture is huge, and silencing those who seek anything outside of what the propaganda or COINTELPROs are pushing. We just need to not be deceived, to stay loving and kind to one another, to understand that there are facts that are not conspiracies, but discerning that and having critical thinking skills is very difficult when they're always putting things to distract us with all kinds of misinformation and disinformation with mixed in information. So whether or not these UFOs, the beings, whether they are real or not, whether or not they're going to bring out Project Blue Beam or actually say that they've had this technology and we've been paying for things that we didn't need to all this time, which most of us realize this with Tesla technology. I doubt that will ever happen. So be loving, please be kind, please understand that it's important to know that we are sovereign humans trying to have an experience here that we were born free to have into a system that isn't always in our best interest, as you know. So, of course, anyone who speaks anything other than what they want you to think and believe and consume all the time will be silenced. So thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing my videos and my channel and knowing that I know nothing, and yet in my heart I know that I am driven to look for things that are not where we would see things, if that makes any sense at all. So when I bring you this information or bring it back out to the light, there's a lot of people who have brought out different things throughout the years. However, it's important that we stay childlike and curious and seek for that inner wisdom of our sovereignty. Because you are amazing. We are all powerful, unified together. They really do need us to not want to love one another, to be in chaos and in fear. Please don't let that happen. Rise above it and go with your heart. Go with knowing right from wrong. Go with knowing that we are here to have an experience that makes a difference in this world. And I care about you. Thank you so much. There is far more than just a passing connection between the UFO phenomena. Alastair Crowley, Jack Parsons, Wernher von Braun, Project Paperclip, World War II, the Vatican's secret plans, the importance of CERN, and the history. So this is very close to the end of my video. I hope you've enjoyed these articles, this footage, and how it all kind of connects together. And now this next clip is in French. However, there are subtitles about how he has spoke to others from other planets.
J'ai entendu et écouté plusieurs des dirigeants d'autres planètes qui sont très inquiets parce qu'ils s'interrogent sur la voie que l'Union européenne va poursuivre. Et donc, il faut rassurer et les Européens et ceux qui nous observent.
There are objects in our atmosphere which are technically miles in advance of anything we can deploy. We have no means of stopping them from coming here. They will not tolerate any form of military violence on Earth or in space. The following information in italics was shared with me by my colleague Carol Rosen, who worked closely for several years with Wernher von Braun before his death. Well, I found this to be very interesting, and I hope that you did too. Thank you for watching this to the very end. Please share, subscribe if you have not, and give me some great comments at the end. I really enjoy reading what you have to say. Trinity, Red or Blue Pill. Hi-ho.